It kind of feels a little bit like polyamory, but it's actually like real polyamory, not the things that y'all be doing and saying y'all polyamorous and really y'all be cheating on y'all boyfriends and girlfriends and they don't know that they in a polyamorous relationship because they not, and you really is cheating like, I'm open. And it's like, that's not what it is. Hi, hello, and welcome to the Cozy Little Book Club. I'm your host, Taylor. Thanks so much for joining today. Today, we're diving deep in the lives of vampires. I don't know why I did that necessarily, but imagine that this was like a fang. Like a cutie, like a vampire, but make it cute. Anyway, I know I've had my qualms about people living forever, but this book is a little different and I'm really excited to share it with you all. So today we're talking about the book Fledgling by my girl, Miss Octavia E. Butler. I know I said that this month would get more creepy and more eerie, and I can't say that this book won't creep you out, but just bear with me because the story is a little morbid if you're into that. And of course, very interesting too. So before we move on, of course, I want to give you all the trigger warnings. This book contains racism, dismemberment, implied pedophilia, bear with me on that, and murder. So yeah, it's spooky. Or something like that. It's just give me a minute, all right? Let me cook. So yeah, we're going to get into it. And actually today I have the physical copy. So yeah, this is Fledgling by my girl, a little blood splatter. You know, this is the original. I think this was before Twilight. And I was never like a Twilight girl. Like I watched the movie like most young teenagers at the time. But yeah, I don't know, sparkling vampires. If I'm gonna get into some vampire shit, it needs to be some real intense vampire stuff. You know what I mean? Was Van Helsing a vampire? To be honest, I'm really not into vampires like that. My mom was more into that, and so I would watch it with her. And I can't think of any of the other vampires right now. And my mom would be really embarrassed right now, so I do apologize, Mom. Sorry. But I feel like Van Helsing was a vampire. Y'all let me know in the comments. I don't know. So this story starts off kind of rocky. Quite literally. A young girl by the name of Shori awakens in a cave with bruises and burns all over her body. An amnesiac, she doesn't know who she is, where she is, how she got all injured, and just a plethora of other questions. Soon after waking up, she does realize that she is healing quite quickly, and soon she regains her strength. Once she regains her strength, she begins hunting for animals, and this is where we really see that Shori is not like us. Not like us, but not for real. She's not like us. While she's hunting, we see that she has super strength, super speed. She has acute senses. And so we don't know what she is at the time, but she definitely a little different, okay? After a few days of recovery in the cave, she begins to venture out and eventually finds herself on the side of the road, walking to what destination? She doesn't know. We don't know. She just walking. She's like, okay, I don't gotta live in this cave no more. Let's venture out. While she's walking, a man by the name of Wright stumbles upon her. From the looks of her, she looks like she's a little girl. So Wright decides that, you know, being a good person, he's like, I'm gonna help this little girl get back to wherever she needs to go. I'm gonna give her a ride. She looking crazy. Let's help her out. You know, this is a little girl in the middle of the night, walking around. Let's help her. That one ride changes his life in so many ways. So many ways. After some conversation in the car, Wright's trying to figure out who Shori is, where she belongs, how he can take her there, you know, things like that. And then all of a sudden, Shori feels this urge, this desire to bite Wright. She decides to bite him and starts sucking his blood. Immediately alarmed by this, he tries to he about to 1-2 her ass, but then he's like, oh, okay, that was actually kind of cool. Hey, Ryan is freaky, but everybody has their kinks, okay? But It was a slippery slope, and I'll get to that later. After he pushes her off, he's like, I'm feeling more emotionally and physically attached to her. So he's like, I don't know where you're going, but you staying with me tonight. I'm going to take care of you. You don't know where you're going. You lost your memories. You don't know nothing. I'm going to take care of you. So it's like instant. She put that thing on him. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Oh my God. So what makes her more alluring is because the saliva in her mouth produces a biochemical that pretty much makes humans want to feel loyal and loved by their whatever Shori is. I'm going to explain that to you. But anyway, this is like a symbiosis relationship or symbiotic relationship. And therefore, Wright is now Shori's symbiont. I know I just threw out like some real sciencey words, but also remember that Octavia Butler is a science fiction writer, not necessarily a scary horror or supernatural, but definitely science fiction. So this is kind of nerding out, but it is really interesting. So just bear with me. I'm going to explain it all, I promise. So like I said, Wright ends up taking Shori home, and it's not on like no freaky stuff, but he really was trying to figure out who she was, where she belongs, and seeing that she has amnesia, he's just really trying to help ask her questions that will rev up her memory. He's really trying to help out, which is really nice. And so as she continues to heal, Shori starts to get parts of her memory back. And through that, she learns that she is indeed not a human, but instead from the Aina race. The Aina race. So the Aina is like this race of vampires that basically need humans and humans need them. So they have, again, this symbiotic relationship where the humans pretty much help sustain and nourish the Aina. But the trade-off for that is that the humans also get benefits, such as, a longer lifespan. They're going to die eventually, but they get to live a lot longer. They age slower. They get healed from, diseases and sickness. There's quite a lot of benefits to being in this symbiotic relationship with them. So, yeah. The Aina relies on human blood, but it's not on like any predatory thing. It's more so you do for me, I do for you. We are in harmony. What sets Shori apart is that she is Black. So not only is she Black, but she has this melanated skin that can withstand the sun. That is something that no Aina can do. They have to sleep during the day. So she can sleep during the day or the night, but she just has access that other Aina don't have. But of course, her being Black is a problem. And so there are some mega haters in the Aina community who don't like her and don't like what her and her family stand for and think that she's an abomination and that they should continue to live the way that they've always lived. So that's how we found out that she ended up bruised, burned, and abandoned in the middle of the woods. She was living with her family, but in the Aina tradition, the men stay in one space and the women stay in another. And because a lot of them sleep during the day, these like mega hating ass Aina people, racist Aina people, came and burned her whole family's house down, and she was literally the only survivor. It's messed up. Basically, they tried to commit a whole genocide for real. They really did. But she just ended up being that girl and survived. So, it's still sad, but she survived. But now that she knows the truth and actually ends up finding her father, thanks to Wright, she meets some of her brothers and some of the other people of the Aina community. Through this, she learns how some of them embrace her while others kind of look away from her. And so because Shori is a scientific experiment or the product of one, a lot of the Aina are faced with, confronting their views, how they feel about race and what they think about tradition and culture. So it really brings out a lot in people that they maybe didn't want to think about, but too damn bad because she here, okay? But in the grand scheme of things, Shori truly represents evolution and how they can better themselves and be better equipped, and just, that's the whole point of evolution anyway, is to get better in each iteration. So it's just like, y'all just hating and doing a lot. But you know what they say, haters gonna hate. So yeah, they was hating. They was mad. So basically the story ends up being, in short, people just trying to constantly kill Shori. And then not only are they trying to kill her, they killing her allies. So it's just really messed up and bogus as hell. But because she has these amazing skills and these adaptations, she can foil the plot. So what they were doing for a lot of them was lighting their ass up during the day, having these great bonfires while the Aina were asleep, so they weren't able to defend themselves. But because she can stay awake and because she can stay out at night, she would foil their plans and they'd be mad and just keep trying to go after her. It was crazy. It's a crazy book. While they keep trying to take her out and keep killing other Aina, she starts to take in more human symbionts. And I really don't want to get into how this web of people and Aina and humans really connect, because it is a really wild structure. It's not that wild, but it's really interesting, but it's super in depth, and I just feel like y'all could read the book for that. Y'all can read the book for that, because it is really interesting though. It is interesting, and yeah, I have thoughts about that, so we'll come back to that. Eventually, they do find out who's behind all of these attacks, and they have very traditional Aina rules, and so they start doing a trial, and I'll leave it at that. This book seems kind of light, but it's really so intricate, and it really is just like a web of connections and thoughts and understanding, and it's really interesting. That's all I'll say. So I'm just leave it at that, but it is a really good book, and I think that you guys should read it. So I would say that the themes of this book are rooted in race and identity, survival and adaptation, self-identity and memory, and power and symbiosis. So now let's get into what I did and didn't like about this book. I do believe that Shori was a badass. You know, I think she was really cool. And throughout the book, we really see her resilience, because my girl went through a lot. Not only did she get burnt up alive, her family perished around her. She survived in the woods, eating little animals, little critters, hunting. She's honestly giving kind of like Tomb Raider vibes without the weapons. She's fast, she's strong, she's adaptable, she can move quickly. She's just, her senses are crazy. She cute, her body teeth. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know what Shori looks like other than she's like a little girl. And yet, all of those things constantly going against her, she still remained super loving and super giving, so kind, even to people who were definitely not kind to her at first. So again, I didn't really get into the whole symbiont relationship and the many symbionts that she had and learning about them and things like that, but she was so kind, because she would literally pick symbionts that were like kind of old and I don't want to say crusty, but they were old and people really just kind of like threw them to the wayside. And she would use them, that sounds crazy, but she would utilize them for their blood, and then thus kind of giving them a new life, you know, kind of inviting them into her little web of symbionts. And not only did she give them new life, but she really loved them and she cared about them. And that was kind of her duty as this Aina who takes on these people, because they had to take care of them. It's a symbiotic relationship. It has to be given, and it has to be give from both sides. You know, it can't just be take. It has to be given and equal, respectable. You know what I mean? Honestly, while I'm talking about it, the whole symbiont to Aina kind of tree, it kind of feels a little bit like polyamory, but it's actually like real polyamory, not the things that y'all be doing and saying y'all polyamorous, and really y'all be cheating on y'all boyfriends and girlfriends and they don't know that they in a polyamorous relationship because they not, and you really is cheating like, I'm open. And it's like, that's not what it is. Everybody in this family, they all know that they're together and they're living with each other and working together. It's all for the greater good of each other. You know what I mean? It's nothing like to the wayside, okay? I'm looking at y'all talking about y'all being in polyamorous relationships. And then have the nerve to be like, ethically non-monogamous. Stop lying. But on the other hand, so y'all know I like to talk about free will. I don't know if these people actually have free will necessarily. You know what I mean? Because I won't get into it deep, but I'll tell you this. The symbionts, they're not immediately like hooked to the vampire that bites them. And then obviously we know that these vampires have, or these Aina, whatever, have these chemicals in their bloodstream and in their saliva that makes people more attached to them. But they can kind of wean themselves from them if they aren't like getting bit regularly. Like, I think there's like a period of like a few days where it's like, okay, if I don't get bit again, I'm free to go. Like, I'm good. I might think about them, but I'm not attached to them where I need them or I'll die. Yeah, that's another thing. Like, that's another thing about it. The Aina and the symbionts, they need each other. Like, if they don't get fed, they will die. And if the symbionts don't get bitten, they will die. It's like really crazy. It's like an intense polyamory. You can't live without me. So not only are we in this group together, but you can't, like, you in this group forever. You know what I mean? Like, that's some vampire shit anyway. Because, you know, again, 5-ever. They live forever. Like, it's very dramatic. So, yeah. But so in some ways, it's like, is their bite kind of manipulative? Because y'all kind of persuading them to join with their, like, that wasn't essentially their intention. But some people, after being bit the first time, they're like, you know what, I could get down with this. Like, I'm part of the throuple, I can get down with this, you know, whatever. And some of them are like, you know what, actually, I don't want to be a part of this. Y'all can hit me up every now and then, you know, keep me healthy, keep the, you know, the skin glowing, keep me fresh. But I ain't trying to live with all of y'all. So there's that. But aside from that, I really did enjoy learning about the Aina and the ones that really obviously embraced Shori. I really appreciated them because my girl was out here lost in the world. Word to Kanye West, I'm lost in the world. But nah, for real. Like, she was lost and they helped her. And she needed that because she didn't have nobody. So they helped her, you know, navigate her memory loss, help her with her language, help her learn about the traditions, the cultures, their customs, things like that. They were really putting her on game, and I really appreciated that. And I can't remember the name of the old guy, but there was like a particularly old ass Aina who was really not into her in like a creepy way, but he was really into and engaged with, you know, trying to help her connect with herself, because it's good to know about where you come from. You can channel that strength, you know, spiritually, genetically, molecularly. You can channel those things and those traits from your people that came before you and utilize that for you in your life, and then, you know, pass that on to the next life. So it is really beautiful. And as someone who is super interested in learning more about my family, I can appreciate that not only was she curious and wanted to learn, but he was really willing to help her and be patient with her, because she was asking a lot of questions, obviously, because she did not know anything. So he was very patient with her, and I really appreciated that, because I don't know, I just thought that was beautiful. And that's kind of like culture and learning about that and the traditions. I think that's something I always want to keep in my forefront of my own life. But then when I have children, I want them to be proud of where they come from, and not just proud of them, but like know who they are. And, you know, these are the people that came before you, and this is your bloodline. So I really appreciated that aspect. It was kind of a little heartfelt, but yeah, very interesting nonetheless. So just to be clear, I want to clear up that Shori is indeed not 10 years old. She's actually 53. And because she is so young, she ages faster on the inside, but outwardly she looks much younger. So one, I want to say, you know, black don't crack, baby, okay? Even as a vampire, okay? She ain't cracking. But also, I wanted to throw that out there because Wright come off as a creepy dude because he picked up this little girl, and after she bite him, he's like, yeah, let's get down. I mean, I didn't say that, but in the book, they end up getting it on, and then the next day she's like, yeah, I definitely remember doing this, so I'm definitely not a child. So it is a little weird. So that's where that whole implied pedophilia thing comes from, because she's not a kid, but she's so small and looks like a child to other humans. So it's kind of weird. I'm not gonna lie, that was weird. So one thing I will say I didn't like is obviously the racism. And I really want to talk about racism, okay? It's not going to be long, and I'm going to keep it short and to the point. Being racist is so fucking lame. I'm not even going to bleep this out. It's fucking lame, and it's very corny. The amount of energy people put into being racist and rude and disrespectful is very, very weird to me. Like, you put a lot, so in this book specifically, they put a lot of energy into taking out her family. Like, y'all can't even be awake during the day. So y'all had to hire other people to murder this family. Like, for what? Just because they look different and they have a little bit more adaptation than you? That is some hating ass shit. And it just makes me think in the grand scheme, because I've always had this thought process in general with actual humans in this real life, that being a hater and being racist is just lame as fuck. It's very corny. And you putting all that energy into just being hateful when you could really go get some money, go do something productive, help the world, mind your own business, it's always just been strange to me. I want y'all to think about it, not even as just being a racist. I want y'all to think about how much energy and time people spend, like, really just being dedicated to being a hater. And think about how weird that is. So them being these hating ass Ina and just not wanting to be open to just a little bit of change that really ain't got nothing to do with you, really had nothing to do with you. It was just it was giving very lame, you need to do something else with your life. So it was very lame. So for someone who's not particularly into vampire stories, I really enjoyed this book. Something I didn't mention is that Fledgling was the last book by Octavia Butler before she passed away. And so one thing I didn't like, which isn't anybody's fault, is that you could tell that there probably was going to be a series from this book, and it just felt like it was supposed to go on. It wasn't like that she ended the book where it's like, I have questions, but you could tell that could have been a whole nother arc to this story, and it was just unfortunate that we weren't able to experience that. So yeah, it was kind of sad. So all in all, I want to give this book a 5 out of 5 golden bookmarks. And yeah, like I said, I enjoyed this book. I thought it was really interesting. So if you're looking for something that's kind of weird, sci-fi-like, and thrilling this Halloween October season, then I definitely recommend this book. So that wraps up another episode of the Cozy Little Book Club. Thank you so much for joining. If you've made it to the end, please leave a little stack of book emojis or any other emoji that you see fit. And if you've read the book, please let me know and comment down below. I want to hear your thoughts about Shori, about being a hater, or whatever. And be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell as we post a new book review each week. And don't forget to follow us on all socials at Cozy Little Book Club. Thank you again for tuning in. I hope y'all have a great day. And remember, when you open a book, you open your mind. Peace.